Well, guys, I gotta give you a bit of an update on what's going on with Andrew Tate. You see, things are not looking good for him when it comes to his sex trafficking and inappropriate sexual... I forget what the exact name of the charge is, but he did sexual shit with minors, so there are additional charges. It's pretty severe. It's pretty bad. He's in some pretty big trouble. The thing is, though, he is being investigated as a member of a very connected crime organization. And the Romanian FBI equivalent, whose name I can never remember, is doing a massive investigation on him. Now, if you've ever, followed the, downfalls of big crime lords, you'll know that there are always these stints of times where these crime lords of sorts are out on the street, they're free, quote-unquote, they're not allowed to leave the country, they're being investigated, charges are being, prepared against them, and they're basically just counting the days till they inevitably end up in prison. That is the period that Andrew Tate is in right now. He is looming at the edge of the cliff. His kayak is heading towards that waterfall. He's a ways off. It's going to be a little while before he goes over that edge, but he will go over that edge. He's long since ran out of time to bail and run for the shore, or swim for the shore. But in the meantime, though, Andrew Tate is trying to make as much money and make as much of a name for himself on his way out as possible. And you can really tell that despite him constantly claiming victory, that he is winning the case, and despite the actual trial not even having started yet, and the actual charges not even having been fully put together yet, he claims that their case has fallen apart and that he's won, and he's claimed victory 5 times now. Basically just trying to fake the victory, just trying to convince his supporters that he's winning and that all of these accusations are false, and he's so correct and he's so based and he's attacking the right people so much they're trying to destroy him, and they're still failing because he's so innocent, right? The thing is, though, he is inevitably going to end up in prison, and you can tell because he's kind of doing what feels like a exit tour of sorts, going on a lot more podcasts than usual as of late, and just kind of almost doing his greatest hits kind of thing on his way out. So recently, and this is what we're going to be watching at least a bit of, it's really long, so not all of it, a very small podcast, it's only got 30,000 subscribers, named the Feediest Podcast, had Andrew Tate on. It's actually surprising Andrew Tate goes on platforms this small, but hey, maybe he's gotten a lot less relevant. And this podcast episode is called Who is Behind the Matrix? Andrew Tate. Or dash Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate's the guest. So this is full-on classic Andrew Tate talking about the Matrix. We live in a simulation, and blaming people, a shadowy them, for perpetuating it. So let's find out. Let's find out what Andrew Tate, the literal child sex trafficker, has to say.
A lot of people don't understand me. And a lot of people say, why does he say the controversial things he says? And the primary...
Okay, maybe that's a little too fast. One sec, guys. I might have sped it up a little too fast. Although this bit might also just be already sped up. So we'll see.
A lot of people don't understand me. And a lot of people say, why does he say the controversial things he says? And the primary objective is to make people think. Not to agree with me. To think. I'll say something which might be deemed racist or misogynistic, to make you think, to make you sit there and go, wait, is that even true? No, I disagree with that. Here is why I disagree. Because
this is completely untrue. The fact that so much of his brand is centered around shaming and encouraging the bullying of people that don't think the way he does, and that his fans so frequently attack anyone who doesn't think the way he does, that frankly attack anyone who's a woman, because he claims that women naturally don't think the way that men do. He encourages their harassment and attacking them and ridiculing them and bullying them. Their opinions aren't valid. Their neutrality isn't valid. Agreeing with you is the only thing that's valid, and your rhetoric and your personality makes that clear, and that's part of why you're so famous. He knows that's bullshit. Be clear, Andrew Tate is a very, very smart businessman, and a very effective troll, and a very accomplished sex trafficker and criminal. He knows what he's doing. At every turn, he's known what he's doing. He's not stupid. Right-wing content like Andrew Tate's, funnily enough, does the exact opposite, and I think he knows that. His content is meant to affirm the feelings of those that watch it. If you're a young man today, then statistically speaking, you are probably a virgin. If you're like online and you're like young, you're probably a virgin, or probably just not very sexually active if you aren't a virgin anyway. You're probably single. You're probably socially isolated and have a very weak social life, and you're probably bitter about it. And you probably have depression on top of that too, just because of the state of the world and being an American and dealing with like working a 9-to-5 like wage cage job, and then, you know, having no work-life balance because you're not allowed to, and, you know, all the stresses of getting bills paid and making it, maybe you get sick. Oh, you got to pay medical bills, all these things. There's reasons why people feel, specifically young men, feel that everything is against them, you know? And those young men have a lot of bitter feelings, and those bitter feelings are entirely validated by Andrew Tate. And not only that, but a scapegoat is given. And not just a scapegoat is given for you to take your anger out on the feminists, the women, the left, the people perpetuating the matrix, but a path to betterment is also provided. And to be fair, of any dude bro red pill dating coach influencer of the past, Andrew Tate has got to be the most helpful of any of them, because Andrew Tate's pyramid scheme has at least made some of these guys wealthy. His crypto rug pulls have at least made a small proportion of the guys who follow him wealthy. Made a lot more of them poor, but the people that follow him, uploading clips of him on YouTube and monetizing it, thus giving him more attention and making them ad revenue, they've gained from that. Andrew Tate doesn't just spew bullshit at you. He also may have helped many of the people who watch him make money at some point. I want you to think about it like this. Andrew Tate has helped these guys actually make money. If they post his videos as like YouTube shorts or YouTube videos or whatever, they're going to make money off of that. He benefits, of course. That's why he has them do it, but they're going to make money from it. Once someone has validated their opinions with a large platform and provided them that catharsis, validated their feelings, and then on top of that enabled them to make an income, you've got a cult. That is how you build a cult. No one will ever turn against you once you have given them, quote unquote, that much. That is cult 101. You've created a cult.
The Overton window is here. We're only allowed to talk about the decorations on the Christmas tree. I want to talk about the tree. And to push the limits of the Overton window, you have to say the things you're not allowed to say. That's the reason I say the things I say. That's the reason I say them the way I say them. That's the reason I've done the things I do.
This is also not true. The reason he says these things is because he is a provocateur. This term exists because people have done this for a very long time. He gets off on getting attention for saying awful things. And to an extent, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like, you can't not respond when someone prominent says things like this, but responding to them also provides them the attention they want. And so it's a double-edged sword. Like, either you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The being awful like this gets the attention of people who are attracted to that kind of thing, and then people who don't like that criticize it, and that gets the attention of more people who are attracted to that kind of awful thing, growing their prominence, and thus more people call them out, and it's a feeding cycle. It's how Andrew Tate got to where he is. The only thing I think that could have legitimately stopped Andrew Tate, I think Andrew Tate would have been a thing until the end of time. I think Andrew Tate was going to be a household name that we would all unfortunately have to deal with, like Elon and Trump, until they die. I genuinely think that was going to be the case if it were not for the sex trafficking stuff. Andrew Tate wasn't going anywhere. He was going to be relevant forever. I think everyone else in the red pill sphere will fizzle out, but without the criminal charges, I think Andrew Tate would have been here to stay. He is an extremely savvy businessman, and once the red pill stuff died, he would have moved on to something else. He would immediately move on to something else.
To push the window over the Overton window, to eventually it gets large enough. We're not talking about decorations, we're talking about whether there should be a tree at all. That's why I'm largely misunderstood.
When I came here, like, I got so many texts that don't do this, because like I am innocent, stupid, 24-year-old in the European Parliament that is associating myself with like you, that you have like all this kind of drama around your name. So, but I was like, fuck them.
Okay, so apparently this guy is a member of European Parliament who is pro Andrew Tate and is trying to advocate for Tate's release in Romania. That's why he's on this podcast. that has like 30,000 subs. Yeah, there are top G's in EU government that are pushing their weight around to try and get Andrew Tate set free. And this is one of them.
I want to talk everyone in the world, even people that they killed, even people, I want to understand what they said. Absolutely. And this is the world that I want to live, to hear the perspective of the others. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, a lot of people don't like in the European Union.
That's a shame.
Maybe in the United States.
I love how like every podcast appearance of Andrew Tate is just like, I say these things because I'm trying to move the Overton window. I want to have conversations. I want to have discussions. People they aren't willing to have the conversations on the 4D chess plane that I talk in. You know, I'm too smart for these people. And then meanwhile, like, let's look up best of Andrew Tate. Let's see what like Andrew Tate's fans consider the best of him. Best of Andrew Tate. We're like this is a pro Andrew. This is from 2022, before the sex trafficking stuff too. This is pro Andrew Tate stuff. These are what Andrew Tate fans consider his best moments. Let's see why his fans actually watch him.
Disabled base. I'm not a bad person, but I'm a quick person. Most people are slow and stupid. I'm fast. There was no people in wheelchairs trying to use this space in those 45 seconds it took me to buy this. So no one loses. The last time
right off the bat, it's in every way possible, he's a bad person. He brags about parking in handicap spaces as a starter. Like, this has always been his brand. His very first viral post was saying that anyone who likes Star Wars is a loser and should be ashamed of themselves. He picked the biggest franchise of all time, criticized every fan of it, knowing it would get their negative attention, and then that was the start of his rise to power. He's always been like this. He attracts people who see someone who brags about being a bad person. They go, I want to be like him. Especially in America, something that a lot of people don't realize is that being a bad person is considered virtuous. Being a ruthless grifter who's willing to lie and cheat to get your way and escape the working class to achieve like wealth, that is the American dream. That is literally what the American dream is. And so Andrew Tate, being a wealthy, powerful, unapologetically rude, awful person, is attractive to Americans. They want to be him. Americans don't see someone like this. Like, at worst, Americans will feel jealousy. They want, because they'll hate him because they want to be him. Most Americans, or not most, but a lot of Americans, a problematic amount of American men, see this and they say, I wish I was him. If I was in his position, I would be doing what he is, and they idolize him. They see him as a role model, and obviously that's not something I have to prove.
Took one of these spaces. Someone goes, excuse me, are you disabled? And I replied, I am actually. And their face was like,
breathe air. You don't need a vape.
I vape just to spite Andrew Tate.
Have you ever seen anyone with a vape? Have you ever sat in a room? Someone go, wait, let me just go. My vape's done charging. Load it up.
Dude, I am happy vape. I get so happy vaping knowing that it makes Andrew Tate mad. It doesn't actually. Andrew Tate just selects a group of people that are very large and attacks them because, like I said, Star Wars fans, people who are handicapped, people who vape, people who play video games, he will make fun of you because that will get that large group of people like angry and they'll respond to him.
I mean, I smoke cigars, but I know what the fuck I'm doing. Give me a big fat cigar. I'm risking cancer to look.
Wait, I honestly forgot he smokes cigars. Yeah, why would he even... Well, I guess he mentions that because part of what would make people angry is the blatant hypocrisy. He mentions the blatant hypocrisy. He doesn't even try to hide it because that would get people even angrier. And that's part of his brand.
Look like a mafia boss. Fine. I'm not sitting there smoking cigars and going, I can't believe this is bad for me. No, like these fucking vape bullshit children.
Wait, who says they don't... Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna... He's not serious.
And what kind of parent lets their 16-year-old vape anyway? If I had a 16-year-old son, he's like, I got a vape. Get the fuck out of here, vape. Do some push-ups. You ain't got time to vape. You gotta do push-ups. You ain't got time.
not have son.
The best way, though, the reason why I have a flat vape like this is I can put it on the ground, and then every time I do a push-up, when my face goes down, I can hold the push-up at, like, the 90-degree bent angle, hit the vape, and then I push up. You telling me that doesn't give you an insane pump? Then you're lying. it gives you an insane pump.
Who are too busy buying NFTs and saying, oh, I'm in.
Lovely child abuse. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, he's obviously very pro child abuse as well. Like, everything awful, right? Like, the people that are attracted to him are bad people. Like, I think something that we talk a lot about the people who are genuine, right? We talk about the people who are falling for these people, but like, Andrew Tate fans are subhuman. I want to be very clear. When you've become a fan of Andrew Tate, you've reached a point, or you have proven that, like, you as a human being are either so young that you've not developed empathy yet, or you're incapable of it, or you see it as a bad thing that you've denounced. Andrew Tate fans are an actual blight. They're not just like honest people who've been tricked by a malicious person. They are an actual blight. He attracts like the actual worst of our society to congregate around him.
A little bit of money and have skinny little arms and go to crypto conventions and be dorks. I will not have nerds as children.
This is back when he was anti-crypto, before he started crypto scamming.
I refuse to have a nerd carry the name Tate. If my son is a nerd, one of us has to die, him or me, and I'll challenge him to Mortal Kombat.
Jesus Christ.
Imagine one day you're sitting in Paris, you're sitting there having a fucking coffee, and terrorists roll through with AKs, and the person next to you has their brains blown out. You're gonna stand there and be like,
this clip's funny as fuck.
waiting to die like a motherfucker. I'm gonna be like, bang, oh, I've seen that before. Okay, boom, boom, duck and dive and take one terrorist out, next get the AK, go Rambo. I don't play games. My flight's delayed, but it's no big deal. Thank you very much.
Like, this isn't an best of Andrew Tate compilation, right? Like, they see this and they're like, this guy's a badass, I want to be him. Let's read the comments. The challenging his son to Mortal Kombat got me in tears, bruh. Laughing, crying emoji. The hottest take with the CPR is peak comedy, absolute world class. If my son is a nerd, one of us has to die. Laughing, crying emoji. I hate happy children had me dying. Laughing, crying emoji. The amount of people that think he's being serious in these clips. Laughing, crying emoji. Well, I mean, he sex traffics children, so... I love how Tate can think of any random scenario imaginable, from surviving an attack in Paris to picking up a sword like a 12th century lord. Laughing, crying. I need you to see how many laughing, crying emojis there are, guys. I genuinely think the best IQ test in the world is the laughing, crying emoji. Like, subhuman IQ levels. And the skull emoji, too. Like, it's like you can just see it and you immediately know that what you're going to read is going to be, like, giga retarded. Like a bot would type something smarter. God. I feel like we gotta accept the fact that Andrew Tate fans are actually just bad people. They actually are. They are just bad people. With a lot of these conservative pundits, with a lot of their fans, I'll be empathetic towards them. I try to make content that, like, appeals to them. Not with Andrew Tate, though. I'm very clear to you guys that, like, some people are evil. Like, if there is evil, then they are that. Like, just internally, they are not good. They're rotten inside. And those people, those of us in our society that are rotten inside, are attracted to people like Andrew Tate. There is no horrible thing like the sex trafficking thing that could come out and ruin him, or someone like him, like Trump, for instance, or Elon, because the people that are attracted to them became fans because of stuff like that. You're just giving them the hard sell on being a fan of someone like Tate or Trump, right? Like Trump getting all of the criminal charges, including rape against Trump, made him more popular. Rapists like Trump. I can guarantee you, if you could get a voter breakdown of every confirmed rapist or person on the sex offender registry in this country, the vast majority of them vote Trump. They like the fact that a known sexual assaulter and rapist became president. That's a big deal for those guys. So a part of what I need you guys to understand is the right's power will also come from the fact that there will always be a percentage of our society that are just rotten to the core, bad people. I don't know if they were born that way. Maybe they were, but they just are like that, and they will probably never change. And those people will always be there to fanatically support the right-wing content, right-wing media pundits, right-wing politicians. They'll always be there. There will always be the fanatical base. And our job is to try to break through the sanity washing that the mainstream right does of people like Andrew Tate, that tries to get the normies on board with their shit and normalize that stuff to condition them to be as rotten as the average Tate fan. We need to get in the way of that. We need to counter that. How we do that is through immense amounts of messaging. But not just for messaging. Obviously, in my book, it's continuing to bust out content and dunk on these people and hopefully grow my platform. But I also want you guys to make content. If you have any talent, or you think you have any talent for this kind of stuff, or passion, it doesn't even have to be, like, you might not recognize talent in yourself, but you can definitely recognize passion. If you have the passion, you can do it. We need more figures making progressive content. We need more people iterating on the idea, like the formula of making progressive content and experimenting. I want to see the left succeed for a variety of reasons, but man, I won't lie if it's not also to see the right fail. Like, it's gotten to the point where I spitefully want to see these people fail. They are truly awful people and they don't deserve to succeed, and I would like to see them fail. So, with that said, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable, then please consider leaving a like and a comment. Every single thumbs up and comment actually goes a really long way to boost my channel in the algorithm. Really helps a lot, so I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already, so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, because if you don't, they won't. And of course, make sure to follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, including my Blue Sky and my fan Discord. In fact, every week I host gaming events, call-in streams, and watch parties in my Discord server. And I also announce all my new uploads and streams. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure to join. And finally, if you want to support me financially directly, you can do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless, though, of how you support me, thank you so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.